Hi, welcome back to my garden. It's the first day of summer here and things are looking pretty beautiful, so we thought we'd get the camera out and just kind of show you around, show you what's looking good. Starting with this big beautiful rose that is, I don't know, at least 15 feet high. I've been training it up this dogwood tree, and earlier in the season the dogwood tree blooms with like big white flowers. So that's kind of like end of April, beginning of May. And then now in June, it just blooms with like these huge pink flowers, and they have a really sweet scent. This one's popular with the hummingbirds, and there's still a ton of buds to come. So once it loses its leaves in winter, I'll come in and kind of just like retrain it, attach it to some of the stronger branches, and then it will just like keep doing its thing. So this rose was original here. It was completely overgrown when we moved in. The theme for this bed is, we call it the Shadow and White Garden, and it's basically cool colors of foliage, like, you know, chartreuse and the kind of silvery blues and things like that, and then primarily white flowers. Of course, the roses, just because they were already here, they're kind of the exception. But there's some cool sages in bloom. These ones are really popular with the bees. And then foxgloves are invasive here. That one happened to be a white one, so I haven't had the heart to cut it yet, but I'll cut it before it goes to seed. And then yeah, you can see all the grasses and stuff blooming. And then on this side, it's one of my favorite places in the garden right now. So this area we made, I want to say like 2 years ago, and we've kind of just been building on it since. But basically the goal was to make it as wildlife friendly as possible. So there's like the little lavender hedge, and these ones were all just like plugs 2 years ago. So this is, I think, the first season where they've all kind of like connected with each other. And then there's lots of things yet to bloom. These are all like, there's kind of like a helenium hedge behind the lavender hedge, purple cone flowers, there's some clematis kind of scrambling through. All the catmint is blooming. That's been going for close to a month, but it's still going like really strong, and it's always like full of bumblebees and stuff. There's some of this Roseanne geranium that I planted this year. It was also just like bare roots, so they're pretty small still, but those ones should kind of fill in and hopefully like start to cover the ground a little bit. The Martagon lilies, we have some out back too that are like 5 feet tall, so I'll show you those ones because they're like phenomenal. And then I really like this delphinium here. This one was also from like a plug a couple years ago, and it's the first time that it's had like 3 separate spikes. So that's kind of cool. And then coming this way, I'm surprised at how well some of these hostas are doing, because we don't water this at all and it gets pretty much full sun. But we had a pretty wet winter, so I feel like maybe their roots just went like deep enough. But there's like a few different kinds, so I love kind of just that contrast. And then on this side, I recently clipped this guy, trying to make him like a big ball. We'll see, once it flushes out, I might give it a little updated trim. And then there's another rose over here I wanted to show you. So when we moved in, it was just like, it was basically like an upright thing like this. And I think it's one of the roses that are technically, you can grow them like a shrub or a climber. So I've been training it up on the fence for the past couple of years, and I just like love how it looks. It has these like, I don't know, kind of blushy, creamy white flowers, and they have a sweet scent. And yeah, it's just like so floriferous. And I feel like there's the big limelight hydrangea there that I feel like will kind of take over once the roses start to fade, kind of maybe near the end of the month or beginning of July. This one's almost done. This one has a really nice scent at night. And I don't know if you can see the close-up, but the inside is like pretty cool. I think this is a Chinese magnolia, but I'm not sure. And then this clematis, I didn't realize how tall it was going to get. So next year, I think I'm going to do like, I don't know, maybe like a 10-foot pole for it so that it can climb even higher. The peonies are basically done now. I did a whole like video about them. And you can see there's still some of the kind of side flowers that are coming out. And they start like really pink and then they slowly fade. But this one has an awesome scent as well. And then these are all the native woolly sunflowers, more roses. This one will start to put out like shoots pretty soon. And basically I just go and cut them in. I'm not sure if that's like the thing, but it seems to work pretty well. I don't know what type this is. It seems to always get like a little powdery mildew, but the flowers are pretty distracting, so they pull focus. And this rose here, it's kind of just like, I don't know, a basic rose. But it has a really nice scent. And there's normally like a little bit of a breeze around here. We've been spotted. Soon. Anyway, there's normally kind of a breeze around here, so it's really nice to get the scent. And right now, the lemon is full of flowers. And there's like a little bit of new growth as well. And again, the scent is amazing. Same with the star jasmine. A few other like little things going on here. All the aeoniums are from cuttings, so they were just basically plugged in there, but they've definitely put on a bunch of new growth. And then these are some of the first sweet peas to bloom for us. So I can't remember when I started these from seed, but this one gets, I think, the most sun. And I just like love all the different colors, and like the scent is just like amazing. And then up here, just a few different like pot arrangements and stuff. But this one's just like gone bananas. This was just like one cutting of aeonium. All of these were, well, I guess not these ones, but everything else was basically just like stuck in. And this one's just like, yeah, completely taken over. You can see it has like a gazillion like babies or like branches coming out. So once those grow, I can either cut them and set them somewhere else or just like let them keep doing their thing. Now we're over at this window. I put some of these in for Lewis here. So these ones are the really tall Rudbeckia, it's like the black-eyed Susans, but they're really tall and almost like inside out. And then the native Douglas aster. And then I forget what those flowers are called, but they're just like a basket stuffer type flower. And then this rose, it was here when we moved in, but it had never bloomed for us. There used to be these giant like Leyland cypress trees that were like 30 feet tall, completely overgrown. So I just noticed that there was a rose here, but we didn't know what it was. And then this year, like almost 2 years later, after it's been kind of trained and like given good conditions, it's blooming and it's just like soft pink. This one also has a nice scent. And we'll see. I'm not sure if I see buds forming on the tips of these, I'll just let them go. Otherwise, I'll like cut them back a little bit and keep it a little bit more contained. And these roses, I thought had died like all the way back, but they came back, so that's cool. The theme for here in general is kind of like salmon peach, like those colors of like kind of orangey pinks, and then like ice blues. Right now there's not a lot of ice blue. There's a little bit of the forget-me-not still going. This is like Slug City. I've planted a few dahlias here and then they just like keep getting eaten. And for some reason our chickens don't like the slugs. I've tried feeding them to them a few times. That's a new rose. I got that one for Lewis for his birthday. And I love the color. It's brand new, so that's why it looks a little smushed up against the fence. But I put in something for it to climb. So I don't know if I don't think those branches will get taller, but I think as new ones come in, I'll kind of train them up. And then eventually it would be cool if that whole panel is full. Yeah, let's go this way. Anniversary garden. Some of these salvias are starting to bloom. Those are like a hummingbird favorite. And then the lupins are still going a bit. Oh, these are some of our newer veggie beds. We built these this year and things are like starting to take off a little bit. There was a huge like pumpkin flower over here. And then I think those are like the beginnings of fruit. You can kind of see the pumpkin forming over there. And there was some over here as well. So these ones supposedly kind of stay a little more contained. I don't know if 3 was like overkill, but we'll see. I might have to like, I don't know, manage the situation. These are some bell peppers. They were called King of the North, I guess a variety that grows well in Canada. The eggplants are all pretty like diminutive still, but I'm hoping that they start to take off. Cucumbers are starting to bulk up and those will start to climb. And then there's also giant runner beans that are growing with them. So hopefully those will work pretty well together. And then some like spicy peppers. These ones I didn't grow from seed. I just bought little plants because I wanted to try them out. We haven't like grown those before. And then on this side is the cut flower garden. So I'm pretty sure that these are the Mexican sunflower. And then I have a couple rows of, I think it was Aurora zinnias. So it's like kind of peachy tones. China asters, I forget the name, but they were blue and they're like big and fluffy. And then these were the king salmon straw flowers, which I want to grow to like dry. And then these are all dahlias. I can't remember how many there were, but basically we grew dahlias from seed like a couple years ago. And then last year in the fall, I selected seed from my favorite of them, which was kind of like a deep reddish pink color. And I grew, these are all from that. So we'll see what they turn out. And then I might select kind of my favorite seed again and keep it going, see what we end up with. And then the cherries are starting to cherry. Normally we have to like fight with the robins to get cherries, but this year the robins have been so interested in our strawberries that I feel like it's pulling focus a little bit. And we've actually had a few cherries and there's lots more to come. So that's okay. And the raspberries are starting to form up as well. These are like an ever-bearing kind, so I actually cut all the stalks back, so this is the first flush we're getting. The strawberries, like I said, we were kind of fighting the robins for them a little bit. This is our strawberry and our asparagus bed, which is kind of a classic combo. But they're just so good. Asparagus is going bananas, full of bumblebees. I saw a hummingbird on it the other day too. Yeah, just like in full bloom. We harvested so much and then we kind of stopped in May at some point, the end of May maybe, just because it was the first year that we were harvesting. So we figured we'd like let it rebuild its energy stores so that we could get a good year again next year. All the chards, we've been harvesting a ton of these. They're awesome in omelet. I've been excited about the onions. These ones we grew from seed. And it was the first time. Normally I get like those little bulblets. These were Walla Walla, which are kind of a sweet onion, which I really like for cooking. The cabbage, which I've been eating like the leaves too, and they're really good in salad. There's some rows of like beets. parsley, more walla wallas, and then the zucchinis, which are starting to get big, so hopefully we'll start to get some fruit soon. Those normally do pretty well for us. I have some beans that are getting ready to climb up, and then they didn't germinate super well, but like there's definitely a few, and maybe there'll be more coming. This is the like Hopi red dye amaranth, which is like good for eating in salads and stuff. Carrots, kale, all the celery, lettuce. We've been harvesting so much. We have, I don't know, maybe like 30 lettuce plants. So we're basically just harvesting like all the outside leaves. And I have more seeds on the way in case they bolt on us. Garlic. And then in here, kind of some more salady things. There's like basil, arugula, and then we have 3 rows of the tomatoes. And it's interesting, like, it's all the same type. It's like the little black cherry. I forget their name. Oh, it's just called black cherry. But how much bigger these ones are, and that like south is there. So I don't know if it's just like the warmest corner or if they happen to get a little more water or what. But it's like these are the biggest, then those, and then those are a little scraggly. But hopefully they'll catch up. These ones I've kind of just been training up the ropes a little bit, but I'm not really cutting off the side shoots too much. I just want them to get like really big and bushy and just like, yeah, get a ton of cherry tomatoes. We've also been harvesting a bunch of snap peas, which have been great in salad. Yeah, more lettuce. These were the Prudence purple tomatoes. And I'm not sure, this bed, when I made it, I did the like Hooger culture thing. So like there was like some mulch and stuff in the bottom, but I think because it's a little bit shallower, I should have just done soil. Anyway, I gave them some like nitrogen feed because I noticed that the leaves were growing a little yellow. So hopefully that will kind of like help them put on some growth. And the stems are definitely getting thicker. So I think it's happening just like a little slowly. Kind of a propagation station here. These are some bush salvias that I grew from cutting. I don't see roots out the bottom, but I did up pot them. I had them all in the same pot. These are Colombian tiger lily, which is our native tiger lily. We've been spotted again. All the aeoniums, these ones, I don't know, maybe I can risk. Any roots? A few. It's like slowly happening. Yeah, future salad crops. Some wagging. Kind of up potting and all that kind of stuff going on here. The broccoli, it was a really weird year. Other times the plants would be way bigger by now, but I've been giving them some nitrogen feed to try to make them a little bigger. These ones are like a broccolini type. And then these tomatoes were roadster tomatoes. So kind of like the other ones, they were looking a little yellow. But yeah, I'm feeding them more now, so hopefully they like that. The herb gardens filling in. Some of the lavenders have gotten like really big this year. And then this rose is also a favorite. This one might be my favorite scent-wise. It's just so perfumey and it's so floriferous. It just like keeps going the whole season. Just a little sidetrack to show some of the pots because they're really starting to take off. These are like little fuchsias that we overwintered in the greenhouse. It's unheated, but it's kind of just enough. Yeah, dahlias, chocolate cosmos, all the things are starting to come. We have all these bananas that basically I just like took them out of the ground last year, put them all in a paper bag, and then just like left them in the garage. And then earlier this spring, kind of when I started the tomato seedlings, I just like potted them up and they've just been growing so well. Like this one too. It's getting huge. And there's like the first little calla lily. Those ones basically I did the same, just like dug them up and like stick them in a pot or stick them in a paper bag. The Princess Diana Clematis I've been loving. I've been like staked out here trying to get like a shot of the hummingbird on them because they seem to love going there when I'm inside and seeing from like the window, but when I'm actually out here, it's like hard to spot them. These are all like hummingbird favorites as well. These are the salvias that I took cuttings from for the ones that I just showed you. And then a few more pots here. I love the aloe striata, the donkey tails. These ones come inside for the for the winter. And then yeah, these bananas too are just like getting huge. I did like a, I don't know, experimental combination of different things. Basically there's like the bananas and the hostas that are really thirsty, and then the begonia and the zigzag cactus like a little bit drier, but together they all seem to work because I just water them like every 3 days, and then when it I think the bananas just take up most of the moisture. And then another succulent project. So this is one of the OG ones, but a bunch of the semps are starting to bloom. So these are like death blooms. They're monocarpic, so like once they bloom, that's it. But they've put out a bunch of babies, so they'll kind of take over from them. These are some of our native sedums. I think this is sedum oregonium. That's starting to bloom as well. This is spathulifolium, the other native one. And then these are some of the native cactus. So it's like a Puntia fragilis, and that's a new little pad. So that should form like a little cluster. Bring your stick, Pops. The sweet peas here are starting to bloom. I think they get a little less light. So they're a little bit behind the other ones, but they're looking good too. And then the catalpa. So this one we had to pollard because it fell over, and then when I righted it, it was too top heavy. So basically I cut it back, and then this is all new growth, and the leaves are just like giant and heart-shaped and like really soft and fuzzy. The Clematis are almost done, but I have Cosmos and Veronicastrum ready to take over. Same with the peonies. The last few blooms looking really good. And then these are the Martagon lilies. So these ones are, I'll stand next to it, but I'm 6'2", so that's like, I don't know, at least 5 feet tall. And the hummingbirds love them. I had a whole photo shoot with them where they were just like really enjoying them. And then this is one of the earliest of the panicle hydrangeas to bloom for us, so it's just getting started. So that's pretty exciting. And yeah, some of the daisies and stuff. The rose campion I don't actually plant, it just kind of self-seeds itself around. This is like hibiscus. I think it was called Midnight Marvel, but I like the leaves, and it hasn't bloomed for us yet, but it has like big kind of cherry red flowers, so maybe this year. And I've been waiting for these to get long enough. I'm trying to train the, it's a weeping redbud, but I want to train it like up the trellis so that then it can like droop down the other side. And then on this side, I have a little Atlas cedar that I'm training up. I thought the combination of those two colors would look really nice. And then there's also a Don Juan rose, which has a really nice scent. Supposedly pretty vigorous too. Yeah. I feel like the combination of all three of those will be pretty awesome. And then a friend of mine was moving, so I went and got like a bunch of plants from his place before he sold it. So yeah, there's a ton of like new grasses and some black currants, some rhododendrons, like lots of cool things. So that was pretty exciting. This is one of the ones I've been most excited for because it's our native mock orange. And this one's been in, I think, for 3 years, and it's the first time it's blooming. I love the scent. And I just know it will get like better and better each year, and it'll just get like tall. Like these are all the new shoots. So each one of these will branch out and it'll just become like a big fountain. These are Shasta daisies. I forget the name, but I like the fullness and the slight like greeniness to the center. And I've been propagating them a lot, just like dividing the clumps and planting them around. So there's some more that are coming up over here. If you turn around right down here, so it's still pretty like tiny, but these are the white lavender that I grew from seed this year. So you can see, I don't know if it'll focus, but it's just starting to bloom. And I have like a whole little like hedge of them kind of around this area here. So that'll be awesome maybe next year or the year after. And the lilies are like lilying. It's still kind of early in the day. So they're kind of closed, but they'll open up. And then these are all, it's like Sagittaria something or other, arrowroot or something. They look like arrows. Also called duck potato. It's a native one, and like the kind of tubery part is edible. Oh, some of the first cosmos. These are rubenza. There's like about 20 of them planted in this garden. This was, I want to say white swan maybe. It looks a little funky, but it's just like the first flower on the first year. That's echinacea, a white one. And then these ones were called, I think, cathedral bells. It's a kind of campanula. It's a biennial, so I started those seeds last spring, and then they're blooming this year. And then the Three Sisters bed. Things are starting to happen. The corn is corning. I tried a different variety this year that supposedly will be ready kind of faster. I think it was a 70-day. And then I also have sunflowers. These ones were like kind of big, oily seed ones that I thought the birds would really like. And then there's also lazy housewife beans, which are like a stringless pole bean. So those ones have just germinated. And then there's also some butternut squash, which I can see like the first few leaves like here and there. So those are just coming up. So in another month or so, this should look very different. I'm on my little bench. I like it because it's like really low, so you're kind of at like plant level. It's fun to watch like the dragonflies around here, and like when it starts to drizzle, like the frogs all come out. We even saw, I have to put the name, I had looked it up. It was some kind of a salamander that was like just like swimming on the bottom of the water or like walking around. Yeah, anyway, pretty exciting time of year, and things are constantly changing. But yeah, I wanted to just get like a snapshot of what's going on right now. And yeah, just show you. So thanks for coming along for the tour, and I'll catch you next time.